So I am a climate scientist, but I am a huge fan of nature because nature has solutions for us that offer multiple wins for our health, for our air, our water, our food, for the safety of the places we live, and for the incredible biodiversity that this planet supports. So today we're going to be talking to two experts on what's called BNG. That stands for Biodiversity Net Gain. And what it does is it ensures that our habitat and our ecosystems are left in a measurably better state than they were before development by humans occurred. Now, this concept was actually introduced in the UK by the Environment Act in 2021, which is 3 years ago, but it became mandatory this February. And it requires explicitly, this rule in the UK requires most development to deliver at least a 10% increase in the net biodiversity value of the property. So, in other words, development is not just going to be nature neutral, it will be legally required to be nature positive. And this is a huge shift in development, enormous for all different aspects of both the natural environment and our own as well.
So in the past, the landscape there has been heavily farmed, and it was also run as a commercial grouse shoot. So you can see from the photo that there are lots of different habitats already on the estate. That there's grassland, there's woodland, but there's kind of hard boundaries between those habitats, and a lot of the condition of them needed improvement as well. So our project there is going to involve adding new areas of habitat, wetland, patches of scrub, lowland meadows to the existing landscape, and also taking the grazing pressure off the landscape by reducing the number of animals being farmed there. So it's going to massively improve the condition of the existing habitats and allow a more diverse array of plant species to grow. So we're kind of hoping for this like more messier, more exciting landscape that's going to provide a greater variety of habitat and plant species.
It's fair to say with this regulation, it's very rich in terms of the data that you need to capture within the BNG metric. And so using something like GIS allows us to really simplify this. And what you can see here on the screen is that we can start to visualize this with field applications. So Temple Group is a brilliant example of this. They have used our Suite for ArcGIS web editing application, and they have baked in topology rules into this so that when they're actually capturing habitats out in the field, they can see what they're capturing. They're able to understand the units that feed into that regulation, and this starts to mitigate challenges like unaccounted slithers of habitats across their site. So we can see that it's been really powerful.
The first question we had very briefly is the question of nature as infrastructure, and the idea that we integrate nature as a foundational asset. What can businesses and organizations do to put the idea of nature as infrastructure into action? Well, let me say that first of all, I live in the state in the United States that is the most vulnerable to climate impacts. So the state of Texas has more weather and climate disasters than any other state. And of course, we know that one of the biggest ways climate change is affecting us in the places we live is by supersizing these weather disasters, as we had just saw in Valencia, Spain, just the other day. And of course, a few weeks ago, we saw two devastating hurricanes in the United States. In my home country of Canada, we had our wildfire season last year that was the largest ever on record. These floods and heat waves and droughts and storms are just getting stronger and stronger. And we know that our infrastructure that we have today, our homes, our buildings, our roads, all of our infrastructure, including our electrical grids, our water systems, they were all built for a planet that doesn't exist. They were built for climate conditions of the past. And so adaptation is happening, but it is not happening fast enough anywhere. And that puts us all at risk. But the good news is that nature has the huge potential to help us adapt. So, for example, in large urban cities, low income neighborhoods can be up to 7 or 8 degrees Celsius hotter because of lack of green space. But when we green those areas, not only does it provide protection during heat waves, it also provides protection from flood because there's somewhere for the water to go. The vegetation filters the air and reduces air pollution, as well as improving people's physical and mental health. In fact, at the Nature Conservancy, we just finished, I think, the first clinical trial of nature as a solution for health, where medical researchers measured biomarkers of inflammation in the human body in a neighborhood that had been greened versus a neighborhood that had not been greened. And that's what we talk about with green infrastructure. And there was a significant reduction in inflammation, which leads to a host of issues, from cardiac issues, heart issues, to lung issues, to even mental health issues. We know along coastlines, mangroves along coastlines and coastal wetlands protect against storm surge. So there's all of these win-win-wins that you can literally put numbers on, right?